G'day guys, it's Mark here and welcome to the Iron Empire. In this episode, we work on the Ocean Gate Titan 5.0, Andrea's 5-litre Fairlane. Oh man, we try and put a tune in this thing. We also address some engine failures, but they're not catastrophic. Let's get into it. So as some of you will know, that Andrea sunk her daily driver Fairlane in the storms we had last year, and this thing went as deep as the ocean floor. I mean, this thing was like 400 mil deep. The motor sucked in a bunch of water. We bent a piston. We cracked a piston. Luckily, we managed to dry out the interior, but this thing went bloody deep. I drove it home, but then the teardown began. The deeper I got, the worse I found. We ended up fixing up this motor on the cheap, and now we're in the final stages of finally tuning it in. Now, we're going to cast a few months back where I actually put a TI Performance J3 chip tune in this car. I'll show you how that's done, and then we're going to fast forward to today, where we've hit some other issues. Okay, guys, so we are in Andrea's AU Fairlane here, and clean the lenses. And it's finally time to put this J3 chip in from TI Performance. Now, I lost the first one. We put this engine back together with some mods you would have seen in a previous episode. And I ran out of time to get the chip in. I just wanted to get the car home, get out of the workshop that we were doing the work in, thanks to Jim. And I got the car home and we sort of shelved it a little bit. I burnt out on the project, which I often do. And I thought, yep, we'll get on to putting that chip in. And then I could not find it anywhere. Absolute idiot. So luckily the team at TI, incredible. I basically ordered a new one and that arrived like the next day or something, like overnight shipping. And now finally is the time to get this thing in place, because we need to get this thing sorted. We took this car away last weekend for Andrew's birthday. We went down the southeast and we probably put over 1,100 Ks on this thing without the tune in it. Not ideal at all. Obviously, with the mods that we done on this car, which included a torque converter, new headers, brand new injectors, and also a stage 3 Crow cam. Not ideal to be driving on the stock ECU. Obviously being like a self-learning sort of style ECU, it's trying to hunt and try and find what the hell is going on. You could tell it wasn't really happy. So there was a few hairy times where the car sort of was misbehaving, but we're here now. We've got the new chip and we're going to get stuck into it. So not really a tutorial. It's not what I'm into, but we'll do a little bit of basic step-by-step, get this thing in place, and fingers crossed, aside from the tuning, this thing is all mint. Okay guys, so for those who don't know what a J3 chip is, basically it's a little computer chip that plugs into the bottom of your factory ECU, and it allows you to basically tune that ECU. These are on a Ford Falcon from, I think, E-Series onwards, E-Series AU, maybe BA, I'm not sure. And they can be tunable. Now, the good thing about TI Performance, who have created this, is that they give you a few stages of chip, like a stage 1, stage 2, different levels. So you can choose an off-the-shelf tune for very basic and common mods that are made to a car. So it saves you getting a custom tune, which could cost you a lot of money. So a lot of people will just put very basic upgrades on a car, like exhaust, cold air intake, and that might be all they do. Maybe extractors, pretty basic things. You can put a tune in that's suited to those things, and it's going to be pretty damn close to what is required. Then you can go different stages with the more mods you do, the more different options you got. And then beyond that, if you need to really dial it in, you can then tune it using this chip. Now we've gone with a semi-custom tune, I guess. I've spoke to the team at TI's and told them everything that's gone on in this car, and I've been sent out a chip with the tune required. So there's some really, really in-depth instructions on how to install this. Now, like I said, I won't go through it all, but we'll get stuck into it and you'll see how it is pretty basic. Alright, so now the ECU is out of the car, I thought I'd bring it into the workbench so I can work on it with some better lighting and stuff. Now, I'm really impressed with the amount of effort Ford put into actually keeping these things in the car. They've got little dust covers on and they're bolted up solid as a rock. You know, there's no chance in these ECUs, you know, wiggling loose or anything. So we're going to try and follow all of the steps that TI Performance have supplied to make sure that what we do to this ECU is just as reliable as this factory one, because we don't want this thing vibrating and wiggling and loose and playing sorts of havoc later on. So just following the instructions as we go, and we'll get this little magic chip in. It's all installed now. Alright guys, so we have the J3 chip and the ECU back into the car, reinstalled, and the car's now warming up to operating temperature. We're nearly there now. I've just been letting that warm up as well. I put the kick panel back in place. Now, so far so good. It's been hunting a little bit, as in the RPM sort of just finding its place, and it seems to have settled. Yeah, I'm nervous. I've done everything myself, and I don't have a great deal of confidence in myself by the sounds of it, but yeah. All right, let's hit the road, see how this thing goes. We'll go for a little bit of a test drive up and down the street, and hope it's a whole new car. Hopefully it's a whole new car. Alright guys, so I have to admit, I made an absolute rookie error with this engine. Nothing that can't be fixed, so don't stress, but rookie mistake on my behalf. When we fixed this engine and I decided that it was a good idea to do a sneaky little cam swap, we ended up putting a stage 3 Crow cam in it, which gives it a nice little chop and also adds some performance. Sounds hell of a lot better. I actually forgot, well, actually didn't even consider that we have to change these little puppies, or at least check them. These are the push rods. Every time you do a cam swap, you've got to always check your push rod length. And I didn't do that. And it turned out we had way too much free play in the push rods. Had too much, didn't even reach lash. Basically, we needed to take all the lash, which is all the free play, out of the rockers, and then check the torque setting. Ford want somewhere around 17 to 23 foot-pound. Is it foot-pound? Newton meters. Can't remember. One of those. Once you've taken out the lash, it wants to... There's a whole technical process. I can't remember it right now. I won't explain it right now. But basically, I'm sure there's videos online to explain this properly. But basically, once you take the slack out of the rocker gear, you've then got to set your desired torque setting, and then you want it to reach that torque setting within, I think, a turn to a turn and a half, or maybe it's 3/4 of a turn. Can't remember. Need to look at it all again. And basically, this wasn't that. This was tightening right up, and the push rods were still loose, which meant bad things can happen. Luckily, bad things didn't happen, but before they do, it's time to change them over. So I'm now replacing the push rods with some 6.3 inch long push rods from Crow Cams. These are Crow Molly one-piece push rods. And so now I'm just going through the process of, taking all the old push rods out. I'm also replacing the bolts with brand new grade 8 high tensile bolts. And once this is done, then we can go and test the car properly, and fingers crossed, touch wood, hopefully we finally got this thing back into a running car again, because it's been on the road for almost 12 months now. Way too long. All right, guys, now I'm only halfway through doing all the push rod replacement on this motor, and I've realized it's just getting far too late in the day to get this all done, wrapped up, edit this entire video and get it out to you guys for Saturday morning. So I'm making the decision to pull the pin right now. I'm just, it's been a big year, guys. It's been huge. We got that much shit going on behind the scenes. It's not even funny. And pushing everything to like midnight editing is just not on. So we're gonna cut this one short. Sorry, guys. All this happened a little while back, and then today we've had a few hiccups. So we're gonna have to readdress this, hopefully in the coming weeks, because I really want this car back on the road. But just trying to get it all up for this video ain't gonna be a thing. But that's what happens with working in cars. Doesn't always go to plan. So that's gonna be it for this time around. Also, guys, I mentioned last week, More Than a House, our other channel, is up and running yet again. It's covering all home reno stuff, particularly a little shack that we are currently restoring or renovating. So if you're into the home reno stuff, go check out that channel. We're going to have a new video going live tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. So yeah, check that out. And of course, tomorrow at 4 o'clock, go to Jake's Chop Shop, check out his latest video, covering everything on his show quality VL build. It's going to be a good one.